Welcome, everyone, to the first session of our new campaign, Labyrinth of Thieves. We will be your hosts and storytellers from Wanderlustdnd, here to bring you a story of adventure, betrayal, and finding one's place in the world. Before we jump in, I thought we would go around real quick and introduce ourselves. I'll kick us off. My name is Amber. I will be your game master, storyteller, and trauma bringer for this campaign. I have been playing D&D for about 3 years or so, DMing for the last year in another campaign with a lot of these crazy folks, where we explore a different part of Enethær, this homebrewed world. And I am delightfully excited to see them go into a completely different area and bring a lot of chaos, because that's what they're known to do. So, we can go around the group. Miguel, would you like to start us out?
Hi, I'm Miguel. I've similar enough been playing around 3 years D&D. I will be bringing the lovely Cashé Visage to life, and everything else you can learn later on.
Brilliant. Zeb, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello. I'm Sebastian. I'm playing Alnilam, Enethær. Interesting character. But yes, been playing D&D for I think 5 years. I still don't know what I'm doing, but it's fun. There you go.
Brilliant. Mark?
Hi, Mark. Similar boat. I've been about 3 years. I'm playing tabletop D&D, played video games before that, and I am in charge of doing justice to Fenris. I'm very excited to play her.
Very good. Ricky?
Hi, I'm Ricky, and I've been playing D&D for about 2 years. And I'm the new one in the group. And I will be playing Revenant, who I'm sure we'll learn a lot about as we go on.
I think we will. And last but not least, Chris?
I'm Chris. I've been playing D&D for 6-7 years now at this point. Former DM for our lovely DM tonight, but I can't wait to once again take the reins on this side. I'll be playing Gizmo. It's a bundle of fun. I can't wait to share with everyone.
Oh, very good. Well, thank you all so much for joining me tonight and taking part in the crazy adventure we are about to take part on. And if everyone is good to go, we can start our first session with a map change.
See this change.
Oh dear.
Loading the world map.
Get y'all there. Okay. Can everybody see the map?
I can indeed.
All good.
Okay. Well met, adventurers, and welcome to the world of Enethær. A wild landscape of magic, exploration, and conquest. For generations, the Four Lands have been ravaged by conflict, following the devastation known as the Collision of the Plains. This cataclysmic event reshaped the surface of this world, leaving deep wounds to fester and even take shape. Our story begins in the Avasha Isles, located in the heart of the Sea of Crystal Shards. This collection of blooming Mediterranean isles were our prime location for trade and are most well known for the birthplace of Magitech. Located in the southern isle of Avasha is the beautiful city of invention, Enethær. And due to its impressive technological advances, Enethær and the Isles soon became the focus of two warring nations, both claiming rights to the technology. To the west was the Xanadar Empire, ruled by the fierce Empress Messalina and the Golden Helm of Solander who protected her. To the east was the Aryan dynasty, followers of the Old Ways. The Star Lord Luris Lohartel refused to let the Isles fall into the hands of the Empire, and fought to sway the city of Enethær to his claim. For the following years, the skies burned with gunpowder and explosions, while the seas ran red with blood. A decade of war followed, each side facing heavy casualties, but none so much as the people of Avasha. Much of the land beyond the Blythe Mountains was ravaged by fires from burning skyships, while coastal villages were raided by pirates. Farmlands, vineyards, valleys were set ablaze, and countless innocent lives were lost. Finally, the noble families of Avasha had had enough. Led by a radical leader known as Lady Heloise of House Beauvoir, families joined forces with the Arcane Institute and formed a conclave of industry. Lady Heloise and the conclave demanded peace talks with the Empire and the Dynasty, and an exchange was offered for peace. In the year 535 of the Fourth Age, 12 years after the war began, the Treaty of Enethær was signed, declaring the Avasha Isles independent and free, with Lady Heloise elected as the first Marquise of Enethær. The War of Three Nations was indeed over. It has been 5 years since the treaty was signed, and tonight we find ourselves aboard an airship known as the Silver Countess. Earlier today, you all boarded this airship for your own reasons, seeking passage out of the imperial capital of Ulster-Arcadia, setting a course for the Avasha Isles. It is the 26th of Windesena, on the eve of Nelunath, marking the third artisan festival of the year. This time is usually just celebrated with great feasts, tourneys, and parties. It is a brisk spring eve, made only cooler by the being about 1,500 feet up in the air. There's a gentle sway to the airship as it travels through the breaks in the clouds. You can see the giant, arcane-infused balloon seems to capture rays of sunlight, glints of golden fragments being collected towards a massive Ethereum core set in the center of this airship. There's a gentle hum of cogs and motors giving power and lift to the ship, with the steering sails opening out on either side of the main hull like wings. On the upper deck, away from everyone, finding a quiet moment to herself, we see a woman clad in armor, with a strange-looking sword at her side. Mark, would you like to introduce us to your character?
You can. So, you see before you quite a tall woman, tan skin. She has her hair looped back in braids along the back. It is long enough, especially for a warrior. Armor is a mix of red, burgundy, purple. Large breastplate across the front, sword at the hip. Most distinctive feature is her heterochromatic eyes. Her right is blue, left is green. She doesn't seem to smile very much. And just looks out over the bay.
Wonderful. And what is your name?
Fenris.
And your pronouns?
She, her.
Perfect. Fenris, you haven't spent a lot of time on airships before, but there is something quite freeing about being up here. But you can't help but your eyes being drawn downward, hundreds of feet below you. And you can just make out where the land begins to vanish into the sea, and you're just kind of in open air. How about I show you guys your airship? Hopefully you can see yourselves. Let me know. Everybody's quite quiet. Can everybody see
Yeah.
it?
Yes,
I-
yeah.
Yep.
I'm in a very small segment, so I can't see
Sure,
anything
yeah.
yet. Yeah.
That's all right. Most of you will be in smaller areas for the time being.
Yeah.
But
I'm surrounded by people.
so Fenris, up here on the upper deck, kind of staring out over everything. The afternoon is drawing closer to evening at this point. And from where you're standing, you can actually see the Silver ring that is that surrounds this world begin to shine a bit brighter in the rays of twilight. You can see that the ring vanishes past the skyline, and almost as if it's diving into the ocean beyond. Is there anything you would like to do while you were up here?
I'm gonna stare out over all the lands I can see.
Mhm.
And knowing the direction I'm heading, I want to look out closer to the coastal towns. See if I can make out any of the cities.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check for me. First roll of the campaign. Being a perception check.
Yeah. I'm gonna use my Fenris dice.
Right
overhead.
ahead.
Wow, first roll is actually decent. 21.
21. Okay. So as you are staring out, feel a little bit of the feeling as you look over the edge. You're very high up. And you can just make out the fact that you were kind of leaving the coast. It's hard to see any major cities or towns at this distance. You're already pretty far out over the water at this point. You've been in the air for most of the day. But you are leaving the Empire behind. And it is just vast ocean around you.
Okay.
With that perception roll, though, I will say one thing you do notice, or what you're drawn to, is as you're looking out, you do hear a kind of strange compilation of metal grinding against itself. And glancing next to you, or kind of across this quarter deck, you do notice a very tall figure standing there. They were already up here when you came up, and they haven't really moved very much, but until you've heard that sound. But standing a good foot taller than you. The main portion of their chassis and gear plating covered with an exquisite looking suit with a bowler hat on their head is a clockforge. Seeming to not pay much attention to you, but just standing looking out as well.
Have I seen the Clockworks forge before? Or seen one this big?
Go ahead and make a history check for me. I'd almost say with disadvantage, because...
Probably not. 8.
8. You have not actually seen one, but you've heard of them. Clockforges were very much used in the war that just finished. But you haven't actually seen one in person. And they're a little intimidating, actually, up close, just how tall he is.
I'm gonna make my way over here and just kind of rest up against the barrier and look out across the whole airship.
Okay. And I'm keeping an eye on everything around you. You do notice that a individual seems to be making their way towards you. But one thing you do notice is that with each footstep they take, you don't actually hear their footfalls. And as they draw closer, you recognize this woman to be Dover, one of the crewmates. She has sky blue skin with ashen hair, and she's dressed in kind of thin leathers, but a big thick collar around to keep her neck warm. She seems to kind of float over to you and just kind of give you a awkward wave. Sorry, and I know you're having a little bit of... just been standing up here for... Look, Captain wants everyone to know that there's a bit of a celebration going on in the mess hall this evening to mark the tidings of Nelunoth, you know. There's supposed to be some good drinks or something. I don't know. If you want to join, you can.
Oh well, then. I'm pretty sure I couldn't turn down such a generous offer.
Suit yourself. Yeah. You just notice with your passive insight, she's just glancing constantly over at the clock forge, and over to you, and then kind of gives you a nod. Not a very personable woman. Turns and seemingly floats away back towards the captain, and kind of just disappears. And it's in that moment you do hear a voice in your mind, gravelly and coarse, and how freeing it is to once more be adrift in the sky.
One could have forgotten what the wind felt like.
It has been over a millennia. I can sense your unease, Fenris, while that list burns a hole in your pocket.
Well, I can hardly make the airship go faster now, can I?
Enjoy the quiet while it lasts.
Hopefully not too long. One could get lost in the thoughts up here.
You hear that same kind of echoing release of breath that you've come so accustomed to in hearing their voice as they vanish from your mind.
I'll rest my hand on the pommel of the sword and start making my way over over the bow of the ship towards the clock forge, just kind of more nonchalant, just walking and looking.
Okay. You
I'm
do notice
intrigued.
that the clock forge was leaned a little bit into yours and Dover's conversation, but as soon as you begin to move again, seems to kind of revert back to their straight pose again. One arm kind of tucked behind their back with just, again, exquisite gloves. They are beautifully dressed, and kind of seems to ignore as you approach.
You do know that it's awfully impolite to eavesdrop.
You were speaking so loudly, I thought I would just listen in.
Of course we have to speak loudly, we're up in the clouds. Not hear the wind blowing.
Yes, I thought a bit of fresh air would do my lungs good. He kind of glances at you.
I wonder who you learned that line from.
My old master. He believed that sarcasm was a good way to make friends.
Well, that I won't deny.
How have you found the journey so far?
Nauseating. But then again, I haven't gotten out very much in the last few years. Thought it was time for a change.
Well, I do hope that you enjoy your time in Manira. 'Tis a lovely city.
Yes, I've never been. Well, as you no doubt have heard, there are celebrations later. I would definitely enjoy seeing you there.
Well. Perhaps it is best I stay above. You can understand. Making people wary.
I wouldn't worry too much about that.
He kind of shifts at this point and looks at you, and you can see that there is no physical movement on this individual's face. But they do have a very, what's that term? Uncanny valley? Yeah, that's the term I think it is. Just a little bit unnerving sense of mechanical features that are very humanoid. If that makes sense.
I feel you should. No doubt there are many below that will find you absolutely fascinating.
I will take it under advisement.
Very well. Enjoy the air.
Gives you a polite nod and goes back to staring out.
I'll go back to pacing up and down the ship.
Okay. And with that, I will leave you there on the deck of the ship as we move downward, following the narrow passages of this airship. We come to... Let me get your little token going there. Go. The quarterdeck that Fenris is currently standing on, underneath it leads into a very lush and posh-looking lounge. There are very soft couches that line the walls, and all manner of carpets and animal skins that give this space a very soft feel underfoot. At the end of this area, near the bow of the ship, there is a metallic-looking statue surrounded by engraved stonework written in a very uncommon language. The statue depicts a nearly nude feminine form with large harpy wings and a crown of bones and talons. Beside the statue, currently sat with a book in their hand. Zeb, would you like to introduce us to your character?
So you see a lilac, violet-skinned, tall, very frail-looking, elven individual. Silver white hair, long, about shoulder length, maybe just below. Big, red, plush-looking overcoat. Dark brown leather gloves and boots. Tight black trousers and a white frilly shirt. Just reading, but also looking around at all the people and delighting at being in company.
Very good.
Yes.
What is your name?
My name is Alnilam Enethær.
I
Alnilam.
practiced it and now I'm gonna mess it up.
Just call me Al. It's easier.
Alnilam. I don't know why I struggle with it so much. All right. What kind of book are you currently reading, or not reading?
Ooh. I'd imagine it's a book on, if I could possibly have found, the Ethereum cores that are currently keeping the ship aloft.
I'd say you could definitely have found something along those lines. And while you're taking it in, it's a pretty dense read in the sense that you sorry, a message just popped up and my brain just went kaput.
Sorry.
You know those really dense science books that are like
Door stoppers.
yeah, door stopper kind. I feel like you kind of have something like that. So half of the words, like while you are incredibly intelligent, you're also paying attention to everything around you too. So it's kind of like you're halfway in the book and halfway people watching. But it is an interesting read to kind of figure out how this works. There's a little bit that's left to the imagination as well, seeming the inventors are keeping a few secrets, but you can get the gist.
Very good.
Al, as you are sitting there and taking in the core basics of this book, you do feel a little bit of a movement on your shoulder as a familiar companion crawls up and seemingly to try to also read the book, and all you get a sense of in kind of your essence from this individual is confusion.
Oh, little Humphrey, I told you to go and investigate the statue. I'm trying to understand what those symbols mean, but I'm also busy learning about this ship. So please, don't try and read over my shoulder. It's quite rude.
Get a sense of slight annoyance. But then they start climbing back down and moving away, and you get the sense, this feeling of, I already know what this statue is, as they move away. And seemingly disappear. Continue to walk past the statue.
Get him to tell me that later.
As you are kind of glancing around, this room is actually quite filled with individuals. People have found nooks and crannies to kind of settle in for the journey. Array of individuals. Is there anyone in particular that you are glancing around to or listening out for?
Is anybody talking about these celebrations later?
Go ahead and make me a perception check. Oh, well, you're...
Let me get my character sheet. I don't remember. Ah, yes, that's good. It's not quick. It's a 16.
16. All right. Kind of maneuvering the book to a point where you can kind of glance around and see these two individuals. You do see two women actually speaking on the opposite corner to you. They've kind of got a corner section of this lounge. You see a dark furred tabaxi woman clothed in a gorgeous like burgundy caftan that also covers up around her head, and her tufts of her ears are sticking out. And beside her is a tanned tiefling woman clad in very heavy armor. You can see glints of gold veins tracing through it. While there is no weapon that currently accompanies her, you do remember seeing this warrior board the airship and with a massive warhammer. You also do recognize with that role the symbol branded on her chest is the crest of the god Solander, the golden sun. There is a giant eye in the center of the sun. These two individuals do seem to be... I mean, the fact that I don't even need you to roll for it. You already know who this is. The god Solander is the Morning Lord. He is one of probably the most worshipped and followed gods in the Empire. Known for the power and divine sense of the sun itself. So many of the worshippers worship the sun. In the same vein, they also believe the sun is constantly watching, hence the eye in the middle of it.
Very good.
These two individuals do seem to be whispering a bit, and you do hear something about, did you hear about the party later? Oh, yes, Sanmace, I think I will be going, yes. And then you just kind of just little bits of here and there of this particular party that must be happening later.
Interesting. More people gathering. Fantastic.
As you're saying this in I don't know if you're saying it out loud or in your head.
Probably under my breath.
Perfect. As you're
Into
saying
the
this,
book.
I'm just like pull up the book and say it. And as you're kind of thinking this and kind of, oh, interesting, a party later, you are taken aback by a sudden kind of harsh whisper that happens next to you. The two gentlemen that are currently a sofa away from you. You see a red-skinned dragonborn with a human companion, seeming to be kind of chatting. They've been chatting pretty quietly this whole time, but then suddenly you just get more aggression in their voice. And you hear, this is not the time nor the place, Ivolo. Let us return to Menira, and we will sort this out then. You see the human kind of get a bit more frustrated. By that time, it'll be too late, Ambassador. You keep putting me off long enough. I need an answer. What is the Conclave's stance on this? And the Dragonborn kind of cuts him off and remember who you're speaking to. Contain yourself until we get to Manira, and then we can speak to each other then. The human gets more agitated and kind of stands up abruptly, fixes his robes, and leaves the lounge, going further into the airship further down. And Dragonborn seems to kind of sit back and bring out a newspaper, flick it open, and cross his legs and continue to read.
Ooh. I'm going to lean over to the ambassador.
Yes.
You do. He pays you no mind.
I'm terribly sorry to interject, but I'm just curious. I overheard that gentleman who just left in quite a bit of a huff address you as ambassador. Who, pray tell, are you an ambassador too? I'm just curious. If I offend you, I will leave.
There is a smoky sigh. Even just a little bit of the smoke comes out of his nostrils as he flicks his paper down. Kind of leans away from you, but looks over in your general direction. Yes. I shouldn't have used my title. Anyway, yes, I am Ambassador Gustav, and he goes to shake your hand.
I will very daintily put out a hand,
Okay.
suggesting yes.
Yeah, so he shakes it, crushes your hand a little bit with just his sheer strength, not realizing how delicate your fingers are. Yes, I frequent the Empire. I am an ambassador for an envoy, really. Ambassadors, maybe old layman terms. For the Conclave of Industry. I was just there for a few days and taking care of business. I didn't catch your name.
Why, I'm so sorry. My name is Alnilam Enethær. You can call me Al. I heard of the Conclave of Industry.
Ooh, go ahead and roll me a history check.
Don't think so. Don't think so. That is oh, that's pretty good actually. That's 12. Okay.
These aren't devil stats.
No.
What was it? 12?
12.
12? Okay. I'd say due to where you were for the last few years and your, let's say, part to play in the last few years, I would say you would have heard of the Conclave of Industry. They would have been the might, basically, created by the Avasha Isles to help end the war. They are currently the leadership.
From the Conclave Industry, that's fascinating. I might say I do happen to dabble in the crafting arts, and I wonder if I could be so bold, if you might perhaps point me in the direction of someone or somewhere I could go to get set up in the Avasha Isles.
Indeed. What is your craft, might I ask?
Humphrey? I call for Humphrey.
He wheels towards you. This, Humphrey, would you like to describe what Humphrey looks like?
Humphrey is a very small automaton, clock forged. He's about maybe a foot tall, not quite. Probably about 9 inches. He's got 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 orange eyes, and a very large mustache. That is completely
metal that doesn't move.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a counterbalance, really.
Of course.
And yes, he runs up
I would say he wheels over to you. For the wheels that you installed on his heels. Quickly coming out actually from underneath one of the couches across from you, weaving around some of the luggage, he kind of wheels over to you and kind of stops, looks up at you.
Now, of course, this is just a more simple one of my
Just
creations. It's
quite impressive. Does he talk?
not yet. He talks to me. I can understand him.
Fascinating. He reminds me of one of the first mortals, the scrappers, I think they were called. Mindless, but, you know, they did their work well. He's beautifully made.
Thank you. Thank you. I have to say, I've tinkered with him a little bit over the years. Not maybe as much as I should hope recently. On account of, well, relocating.
I see. Then that is the reason why you ask about setting up a business. Yes, well, for your kind of craft, I definitely think you would find work in Manira, if that is your final destination. I recommend checking out art, if you get the chance. They are the Artifice of Resonance Technologies. They're the guild that basically oversee the artisans of the city. They'll help you find work, and also help you train in other fields if you wish.
Very good. Thank you. Well, Ambassador Gustav, it's been a pleasure speaking to you.
It's been a pleasure. He is delightful.
Thank you. I'm sure he appreciates it. Gustav says you're delightful, Humphrey.
Just get a warmth of happiness.
He's very pleased.
And while there is no way for his mouth to move or smile, you just get a radiance of being appreciated.
His mustache starts to twitch a bit.
A little bit. Just a little happy twitch. Perfect. Ambassador kind of gives you a nod and flicks open his paper once more and continues to read. You can see him actually pull out a pipe from under his cloak and kind of light it with just a flick of his finger and begin to just smoke.
I will close my book, walk outside, and go to get a breath of fresh air.
Brilliant. So you head out and go up towards the main deck, leaving the lounge behind, and I will leave you there for right now as we move further down, actually, opposite to you, leading deeper into the airship, furthest level away from the main deck. Now, one thing all of you would note, that the door that leads to this other part of the ship is specifically labeled crew only, and yet the door is unlocked. But you have no idea what means, but it is unlocked, and the space is devoid of natural light. Relatively large cargo bay that's stacked high with crates and luggage, barrels of wine and mead. There's a smell of fresh fruit and earthy vegetables from the Empire, as well as hardened leather and ether coming from the engine room. But skulking about in the shadows, rummaging through covered carts and barrels, Ricky, would you like to introduce us to your character?
Yes, Revenant is, as you can see there, resembles a Kenku. He is a plague doctor mask and dark robes, purple robes. He carries a rapier and a dagger and a short bow. And he likes to hide in the shadows. He doesn't really like people all that much.
Very good. What was your name again?
Revenant.
Revenant. And pronouns?
He, him.
Perfect. Revenant, where you currently find yourself in this cargo bay, it is a breath of fresh air in the sense of not being so close to people. Since you've boarded, you've rarely found yourself alone until this moment, until you discarded the sign of crew only and went down into the cargo bay. But as you lean into one of these crates, you do hear a very soft squeak to your right.
I turn, look down, squeak.
Okay. Rummaging about, you do hear a, I found something.
What did you find, Fran?
And crossing over to one of the large wheelbarrows, you do see that the wheels have been stopped with bricks and from it moving, because there's quite a little bit of jostling from this airship here and there, and you do hear your companion digging around, clanks of their tiny claws on metal and glass. But this fuzzy little rat seems to scooch her bottom up and seem to be pulling at something with her teeth.
I'll reach in and help her pull it out.
Okay. Your hands go through and touch this contraption that they are pulling at, and you see that what comes out is this kind of strange glowing sphere almost object, like cylinder, and it has cross-stitching of leather pieces kind of holding the whirly bits together. You see that this is some kind of tech of some sort, and as you touch it, it glows.
Okay, would I have ever seen anything like this before?
Go ahead and roll me a history check.
A 13.
13. I would say, while you haven't had a lot of experience with Magitech, this does appear to be one of the batteries that fuel smaller technological items. You can't really place exactly what it could be used for, because it kind of looks a bit banged up. But that's what it does appear to be, some kind of power source of some kind. And you see Fran kind of wiggling out from the space and looking at it, glowing in your hand, and looking up at you, and I don't know, it might come in handy somehow.
Yes, good work, Fran. I'm sure it will come in handy at some stage, and I'll slip it inside my robes. And let's explore some more of the ship. And we'll make our way towards the door.
Okay. She'll kind of instinctively just kind of leap onto you and bury into your robes, where she, finds her spot that she is always at. And as you move your way towards the door, you do hear heavy footfalls moving towards you, coming from the engine room where these two doors are. Appears to be two individuals quickly making their approach towards you. They are coming from these doors here and here.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
I would like to hide.
Okay, go ahead and make a stealth check.
A 22.
You rolled an 11 and you got a 22. Damn! Easily done. Easily. And it is dark as well, so you actually get advantage. It's pitch black in here, so you can roll again.
We roll just to see if we can do better.
Yeah, go on. Nope.
No.
So, 21 was it total?
22.
Oh, 22. Okay, yeah. Easily done. It's like, as soon as you grasp onto Fran and help her into your robes and you turn to hear this, you just into the shadows. Barely even need to move. Just vanish completely. And you feel pretty hidden. As these doors open, you see two individuals making their way out. A halfling woman with kind of sandy blonde hair seems to kind of take a pair of goggles and put them on her head. fixing the leather jacket that she has on, and following behind her is a very tall half-orc gentleman with just all manner of grease and tar, everything on. He just looks very dirty, like he stuck himself in the engine. You don't know. But they both come out, and you can kind of hear the halfling woman is laughing. Dover says Captain is organizing a little party for the guests tonight. You know, to celebrate Nelunoth. I feel like it's going to be fun. You hear the half-orc kind of just grumble a bit, shaking his head. If it keeps them preoccupied, then so be it. Are you not coming this time? Nelunoth isn't a time for parties. It's about honoring the spirits. You should know that. Ugh. You see the halfling just sigh heavily. Not the superstitious shite again, Garrick. Please, I can't hear this again. It ain't no superstition. It's not called the Veil of Twilight for nothing. It's when, yeah, I know, you say it every year. It's when the veil between the worlds becomes thin and all manner of spirits walk among us. Yes, I know. But we have a party on this day every year, and we haven't seen any hint of a ghost. Half-orc kind of crosses his arms and is like, yeah, not yet anyway.
Okay, with that then, I want to move as stealthily as I can and brush right past the halfling.
Okay.
Yes.
I will need another stealth check.
At advantage.
At advantage, because it is dark. Jesus Christ.
28.
Alright.
Oh, rogues and their expertise.
Oh my god, they rolled so poorly. Okay, so you just managed to angle yourself in a way to just brush past. Garrick, the half-orc, is looking away at this point, and the halfling's kind of looking up at him, and you're able to just gently brush by. Where are you going? Are you going back to hide, or are you going up the flight of stairs?
Oh, I'm gonna hide again. I just want to brush past the halfling so that
Okay.
she feels me brushing past her.
Okay. Yeah, no, she definitely, like, whirls about. Super doesn't see anything, but just kind of looks terrified for a second. We should really get the drafts fixed. That's a bit weird. Garrick's like, are you saying something about my handiwork? There are no drafts in here. And they just start to kind of, like, argue a little bit.
Yeah, my work here is done. I'm gonna slip
Okay.
out the door, so.
Okay. All right, one more stealth check since you're moving again around them.
Yeah, 22.
Yep, 22. Oh my god. I think I should change these. Oh, okay. Nope, they are so engrossed in the conversation. You hear Garrick once more say, "This is the time for spirits. Like, you know, this is what's gonna happen." And the halfling's like, "You are full of shit. Like, this is great." They're just arguing. And you stealthily just make your way up the stairs. They have no idea that you were there. But as you move up the stairs, heading towards the main deck, once more, you do hear, kind of from your pocket, that little squeak again of, poof, that was close.
That was fun. Run.
Careful, I still think it's bright outside. Are you sure you want to go up?
Maybe not to the deck, but we will explore a bit more.
Okay. And kind of tucks in further to, you can kind of feel her kind of holding on to you as you're moving your way up the stairs. But you continue up, and I will leave you there for the time being. As we continue on, Revenant making his way back up through the narrow passages through this airship. We now move towards the first and second classes, and cabins, I should say. Down the way on the right, completely and blissfully engrossed in their work. Chris, would you like to introduce us to your character?
Yes. So, Gizmo is a. I'll bring up a picture here.
Here, I got it. Boink. There we go.
Oh, awesome, thank you. Yeah, so it looks to be a clock forged, but not quite like many that you might have seen before. Most of the plating is this hard wood, mixed with kind of elements of stone. There is visible gearwork and clockwork mechanisms in between the joints, but there's also these strange, almost plant vine-like natural elements that are kind of embedded in between. Center of his chest there is a bright green kind of pulsating gemstone. His legs and his arms are kind of a little bit almost oversized for the rest of his body, but right now he's kind of sat crisscross applesauce and has a variety of tools and pieces and just bits of jangled metal and clockwork and gears and mechanisms surrounding him. And with these oversized arms, he's working with a surgeon's level of precision on a clockwork mechanism at the moment.
Good. Well, you answered my next question, is what you were working on, so perfect. So some kind of
it's a
clockwork
little,
mechanism.
almost like clockwork-looking toy, but every so often, as a gear tries to shift, that as he's moving, you can see through it that there's this prismatic shard that kind of changes color depending on how the light passes through it. Just sitting in the center, just pokes through every so often as the gears shift.
Very good. Very good. Now, Gizmo, this second-class cabin is decent, but not really for you. You find that every time you stand up, your head scrapes across the ceiling, so you kind of have to stand at a bit of an awkward level. But you're currently sitting crisscross applesauce, so it's fine. But the cabin is nice. There's 4 hammocks with kind of, plush-looking pillows and blankets. You do see quite a bit of luggage kind of stashed underneath. But there's currently no one else in here with you. You are on your own.
Okay. Well, at the moment, I'm just actively. That's my entire focus is on my newest project.
On the newest project. Perfect. After a bit of time goes by, you do hear the sound of the cabin door opening, kind of a sound as it kind of slides to the side. And what do you do?
I'm gonna look up. The door's opening inwards, is it?
It is actually. It's like a slidey door. It's like the train doors almost. They slide instead of opening in or out.
Yeah, I'll kind of stop at my work for a second and look up to see who's there.
Okay. You see a boy, maybe 13, 14. From your experience, it's actually kind of hard to tell humanoids' exact ages, but stocky, dressed in light robes, with a large backpack strapped to their back. In his hands are 3 massive leather books. But he quickly kind of pushes up his glasses as he just stares at you wide-eyed.
Can I help you?
Oh, Mr. Clockforge, I didn't know you were gonna be in here.
Well, there's only space so I could really get any work done.
Yeah, is this where you're staying?
Honestly, don't remember. I've just kind of been here and no one's bothered me.
Oh, that means I get to sleep in the same room as the Clockforge. Kind of whispers under his breath and then looks back up to you. I'm sorry, Miss Alric. She asked me to come down here and get a book for her. Can I come in?
Of course, boy. Call me Gizmo. What's your own name?
Gizmo, Mr. Gizmo. That's such an interesting name. I'm Tenzin. The Mrs. Apprentice. She's upstairs. She's a botanist in Venera, and she's teaching me everything that she knows. Yeah, kind of pushes up his glasses again.
It's wonderful. It's always good to learn more. Just be careful not to touch anything in here, though. A lot of it's quite dangerous.
His eyes just bulge out of his head with excitement, and he kind of is like, okay, and you just watch him as he puts the books down in the middle of the floor and then just starts to edge his way around, trying not to touch anything as he kind of makes his way. You do notice that as he shuffles, he's anytime you look at him, he looks away, but he's looking at you at all other times, just enthralled. But he kind of goes around and you see him go up to some of the luggage towards the back of this cabin and fling open and start rummaging through it, and kind of looks back at you and he's like, so why are you traveling to Manira?
Well, that's personal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I shouldn't have asked. And he kind of like starts to dig faster throughout the luggage.
That's quite all right, but look, we all travel for our own reasons. I want to keep them.
Have you at least been to Manira? It's a really pretty city. He pulls out this massive book.
No, I'm very excited to see it.
Oh, it's lovely. I grew up there, and I hope to one day get accepted to the institute and study there. That would be my dream.
Well, keep sticking to them books. I'm sure you'll make it there in no time.
Thanks, Mr. Gizmo. Kind of picks up the book, and the arms wiggle a little bit because it's just it looks like a massive, just really wrecked book. Pages are halfway sticking out. It's like a dirty, gross kind of like it's been out in nature. There's a big muddy handprint on the front of it. It doesn't look very nice. But he kind of puts it up to his chest, and you watch as he actually waves his fingers, and the luggage bag closes. And after taking just a quick moment looking at it, you realize that luggage was way too small to house that book. A little bit of smell of arcane off of him as he begins to shimmy his way again, not touching any of your tools, but then also like stopping and looking at them. So what are you making though? It looks real like. And he's like starting to kind of lean over you and look at what you're trying to create.
That'll turn you into a frog.
Really?
No, but I have no idea what it does. It might do.
Oh, I would love to be a frog. That'd make being a botanist a lot easier.
You know what? Quite an interesting perspective on life. I think you'll go far, kid.
Okay, thanks. And he grabs the book and runs out the door.
Careful, before it's lava.
He kind of like hits his shoulder on the way out. He is clumsy as fuck. He's all over the place. But he kind of glances back at you and gives you like a awkward wave and then disappears down the hallway.
Ah. If he doesn't fall over and hit his head. Mr. Gizmo, I like that.
Back to work. Brilliant. So you continue on. Go ahead and make me a. What would this be? I need 2 rolls. I need a straight intelligence check.
Okay.
And I want a sleight of hand check.
Okay.
The sleight of hand, though, you can add your proficiency to it. Just for this roll.
Cool. So straight intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dirty 20.
Very nice.
And then, ooh, God. For the sleight of hand, that is a 4.
Okay. Wow, this mechanism, you can see it. You can see it, almost blueprints playing out in your mind of how it's supposed to all go. As you continue to poke and kind of prod it and twist the little bits of coils and cogs that are in it, just one just gets a little stuck and it kind of out. Disappears into somewhere into this space.
Well, that's gone forever. Might need to switch into the different settings. This might not be dexterous enough. Oh well, I think I've gotten as much as I can get done for the moment. I'm gonna have a look around.
Very good. Are you heading out?
I am. I'll head out the door. I think. I will pack up all the things, all the dangerous items first. And
Good. I was gonna ask.
Leave them lying around.
make sure there isn't a death
Fine.
trap for the child to come back to. But yeah, no, I will gather all my bits and pieces, very carefully put them into where they need to go, and put them away into my bag of holding.
Very good. You do so with ease, and kind of stand back up. Again, your head kind of has to the side a little bit, but you can make your way out if you wish. Okay. I will leave you as you step out of this cabin, and we move only a short distance away. At the end of this hall, there is currently one of you trying to get some semblance of rest, but they keep tossing and turning. Cashé.
Yes.
It's always the same dream, isn't it? The nightmare, laced in blood and cannon fire. Perhaps it is because you are once more aboard an airship. Or maybe it's something to do with the task at hand, but the dreams are far more vivid than they were before. Each jolt of turbulence, downward crest, brings you back to that moment in time. Flashes of light explode around you. Ships bathed in fire. And the sickly scent of boiling ether and gunpowder. Smells that are unfortunately burned into your senses for an eternity. And yet, amongst all the broken bits of memories, muffled screams, you once more feel the cold, dark eyes upon you. A faceless shadow, lurking just beyond what your eyes can see. Hungry, waiting. Cashé, you jolt awake as the Silver Countess sways to the side, nearly knocking you out of your cot. Miguel, would you like to introduce us to your character?
Well, breathing heavily with a gun pointing everywhere around the room, you see a drow form in full military garb. Decided not to get undressed, just kind of collapsed on the bed out of pure tiredness. Lots of adornments on her military uniform. Quite ostentatious as it comes, as military uniforms comes. But even so, she also keeps this helmet shaped like a panther's face quite close to her as well. Yeah, and right now she's currently just violently staring around the room with a gun pointed everywhere, as if seeing shadows. It's just a dream. It's just a dream.
Disorientated, you do wake up in that, and looking around, you notice that you are currently alone in this room.
Yourself together. You have a mission. It's just a dream. And I'm going to kind of stand up, or with my hands in my face, kind of wipe the sweat off my brow, compose myself. I must find my charges. I'm going to try and step out the room.
Okay. As you stand up and collect yourself, you do hear the familiar humming from the sending stone that is beside your cot.
A checkup, I see. I'm going to pick up the sending stone.
Okay. You hear, Cashé Sans Visage, I trust you and your charges are safely departed from Austro-Acadia. Please report your current status and estimated time of arrival. It is your familiar voice of your handler.
Okay. How far away could I be able to look out a window and gauge any time?
Go ahead and make a survival check for me.
Hi. That's a 3.
You know, as you stare out the window, you do notice that it is getting closer to the evening. That's pretty obvious to see. But it's you you keep being pulled back into the dreams, into the nightmares, and have to kind of keep shaking it off. You're not quite sure how long you've been traveling, or how long you were asleep, or if you even slept at all.
I'm going to pick up the sending stone and reply back. Reporting in, Cashé Saint Visage. Sophia, we are just, we're in the air. We're on our way. I could not tell you where we are.
A little bit of a pause before another message comes through. Losing your edge, I see. Thought you knew the skies very well. Very well. Lord Altain will greet you at the Sky Harbor when you arrive. You may release your charges into his care. Please report back to the Red Hall when you've settled back into the city. Have a pleasant and uneventful flight, Captain. May the winds guide you. Voice vanishes.
Understood. Thank you. Over and out. And I will step and go try find my charges.
That are currently not in the room with you.
Yeah.
As you do glance around, kind of fixing your military uniform and kind of composing yourself, you do notice that the bed, the large bed that where the children have been sleeping, is just piled high with all manner of Belzal's toys, and you can see a kind of collection of books next to the ones that Ronnie were reading. It is just a mess.
I'm not gonna clean that up, and I'm just gonna walk out.
Very good. As you step out, you notice right away as a very large clock forge steps out in front of you as well. You kind of have to stop for a second before running straight into the back room. Gizmo, you hear the sound of the door behind you, and you see...
Sorry, I kind of take up most of the space here.
kind of angle yourself to like...
The most awkward way possible. Yeah, no, if you just kind of... Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. I'm Gizmo,
I mean,
by
just...
the way.
Nice to meet you. As like a medal just kind of gets caught in one of your cogs, and no. Okay, it seems to be okay.
I'll just move
And
it.
I think it's, yeah, I think we got this now. Yes.
Make a dexterity saving throw, both of you.
17.
Dexterity save 13.
13. Okay. So a little bit of tanglement happens. You both kind of push for dominance almost of this very narrow hallway. At one point, Gizmo, you actually get completely stuck, like half, like just sideways.
Oh,
your
no.
shoulders. You're like, oh no, and Cashé has to kind of shove a little bit on the side, and you're able to then wedge out, and both of you are able to leave this very narrow hallway successfully.
You know, I kind of think it would have been better if we just had walked forward.
Well, you know, hindsight and all that.
Agreed. Cashé. Gizmo, you said.
Gizmo, yes. Mr. Gizmo. I'm trying to get
Mr.
something new.
Gizmo. Yeah, it's not often I've seen a clock forge called Mr.
Yeah, just, well, wanted to try something a bit different, you know?
Well, Mr. Gizmo, it's been a pleasure. And very squashed.
Miss Cashé, hopefully we'll encounter each other in larger spaces.
Yes.
You both say in a larger space.
Yeah. I'm looking around as you're saying that, just being like, yeah, sorry, not the best day for me. Just after waking up.
Not a morning person then.
Not at the moment.
That's alright, neither am I. I'm gonna go up and see what's going on up there.
as you both enter this space, Gizmo, your eyes are kind of drawn to this, the massive Ethereum core in the center of this ship. Seems to be kind of generating a lot of heat at the moment. You can't actually get to the core itself. It is contained in heat-treated glass. But you can see kind of electrified conduits seem to kind of in different spots as the power of this core seems to be keeping the ship adrift.
Yeah, you definitely see me kind of just stand a bit almost slack, leaning back, just kind of looking up at it. What a marvel. That much energy in one place. It's amazing.
You should see some of the military ships.
I don't want to get too close.
Lots of people have said that before.
Probably better if I don't anyway. What about you, though, then? You don't look like you got close enough.
Yes, you could also, I suppose, call me Air Marshal. I ran a ship quite like this.
Air Marshal. You'd have a rank then, right?
Yes, Air Colonel. It was my full title. Air Colonel Cashé Visage.
Oh.
At your service. And do a military salute.
I'll do a very, very poor imitation of the military salute back.
Did I get your title wrong? I am so sorry.
Yeah.
My
It's
bad.
okay.
We're
It's
gonna
okay.
rewind. I said Air Colonel. I didn't say Captain.
It's okay, we can just
God
redub
damn
it.
it. There
Yeah.
you go. I'll just redub it. That was
Colonel.
my bad. So much to keep track of. My bad. Sorry. Okay. Continue. As you guys are standing here. Air Colonel. I'm gonna write down my notes right now.
Yes, maybe I could take you on the ship someday. After my job is done. Of course.
As long as there's no conscription, I'm gonna take you up on that offer.
Don't worry, there hasn't been a war in 5 years.
Always time to start one.
That's for people higher up than us.
I'm just a lowly clock forge. What do I have to say in it?
Neither do I. I just shoot what they tell me to shoot.
Different kind of weapon of war, then.
Different kind. Anyway, you haven't seen two young, lordly children around by any chance? I seem to have lost who I am minding.
Children. Small versions of, like, humans, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I saw one around. He came into my room earlier. Tenzin said his name was.
Yeah. Not the child I am looking for, unfortunately.
There's a lot of children on this ship.
I'd say at that exact moment, as you say that, Gizmo, you just hear a Cashé as the doors of one of the Way Wanderer decks open up from outside. It's very, very close to where you are. Oh, I just locked it. There it goes. And you just see this very small half-orc child just run towards Cashé, and then stop in his tracks and just look you up. Just with a dumbfounded face, look on his face. Oh, yeah, you're a Clockforge.
Sure am.
Just looking at all the gears of your legs and he's just fascinated with you. Completely doesn't even look at Cashé anymore, sorry.
Little Lord. I don't even exist anymore, I see. Little Lord.
Curiosity's always a good thing to inspire. Hello.
Oh, sorry, hi! I looks immediately up at you, Cashé. I saw a whale!
You did. And whereabouts did you see this whale?
Outside, on the way, Wander. I'll show you. Grabs your hand and starts to pull you towards the deck.
Ah, okay. Goodbye, Mr. Gizmo, as I'm kind of being pulled away.
Air Marshal.
He just watches. You like miss your head.
Yeah.
But Belzal takes you out, and you just see the very unimpressed older sister, Ronnie, sitting in one of the chairs, and she just kind of says, "You didn't see a whale. It's impossible to see something this high. You probably saw like a rift in the current or a cloud or something. I saw a whale with my own 2 eyes. Ugh, you didn't see anything, Belzal." And just kind of like rattle on to each other.
Things haven't changed since I've went to sleep, I see.
Back me up here, Cashé. You can't see that far. You can't see anything that far.
I can see... Can you see that whale shark down there? I just point at a random place in the water.
Throws his head between the bars to look down. But yes, very, very excited. So as we move into this space here where you all are kind of moving about the ship, I think we might take a break and then come back. So now that we're all introduced. Welcome back from the break. And as we fade back in, I think we should circle back around to the top of the ship, where, or I should say the main deck of the ship, where I do believe Al was making his way up to get a bit of fresh air.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Al, as you kind of maneuver your way up the very narrow stairwell up to the main deck of the ship. You do come up to see just that, again, that therium core. It seems to be running the length of the middle of the ship, basically. It comes from the top all the way down to the bottom. And unlike before, because you kind of went downstairs, once you boarded the ship, you went and found your spot and, you know, were comfy out for a few hours. Now that you come back up, you actually do see how the arcane balloon seems to be kind of collecting the last bits of sunlight as the afternoon fades into night, or into the evening, and seeming to go down into the core of this contraption in the center of the ship. Very much like the book you were reading.
I now understand so much more about how this works.
You do. Basically, the arcane balloon seems to capture sunlight and use it to power the Ethereum core, which then runs on a battery-like system throughout the night. So as long as it is fully charged throughout the day, it can then run throughout the whole night, which is why airships can fly day and night. Also, one of the reasons why you change altitude, so they follow the sun through the clouds.
I always wondered why they bobbed up and down a bit. I thought it looked a bit funny.
It's Humphrey with you.
Yes, I'd imagine he's closely behind me at my heel.
Okay. How is he on stairs? Did you give him knees? Or
Good question. I'd
is he hopping at
say
each one?
I'd probably need to pick him up.
Okay. Alright, so you pick him up.
He can go downstairs, not up.
How heavy is he?
Oh, I'd say. I don't know. I was thinking like 10 kilos, but no, 5 kilos.
Okay.
About the weight of like a hefty laptop.
Still gonna have to get you to roll an athletics check because
Oh,
your strength is abysmal.
Surely I have a mechanism for this. Oh, well. Athletics, you say?
Yes.
3.
Okay. So you go to lift up Humphrey, and he kind of, nah, there's just not enough oomph there to quite get him all the way up. You managed to get him up the first step.
Humphrey, we're gonna have to trim you down. You put on weight.
You get a rush of sadness.
Well,
and then
it's
also
your fault.
confusion, because he doesn't understand how he's put on weight.
Well, I suppose it's my fault, really. But let's see. Well, I surely would have some
Bolted my
way of
stairs.
lifting him up. Yeah, God, like.
Okay, how about this? He'll give a little hop. Oh yeah, okay. He does a little hop. You get a sense of, go on without me, I'll hop up. And you just watch him as he kind of spring loads the under part of his, the mechanism of his feet, and just kind of boink up each step.
You should have equipped them with a like little mini extendable ladder that you can use to climb up the steps.
Yes, yes. Or just carry a plank of wood around with me.
Wheel him up.
Yep. Okay, I will go upstairs without Humphrey, having faith that he will make his own little way up the stairs.
You get a reflection of confidence in that faith.
And yes, I will continue to perhaps walk around the top deck,
Okay.
walking around the crystal as much as I can and having a look around. Also keeping an eye out to see if there's anyone interesting to talk to.
Okay. As you do circle around, Fenris, seeming that you have made it to the other side of the main deck.
I'm just circling around, getting some exercise and thinking in the sights.
Okay, okay. I would say, due to both of your passive perceptions, both of you do clock each other. So, Al, you do see a half-elven woman kind of standing up on one of the upper decks. And I would say as well, you do see a Clockforge individual staring out over the railings of the ship.
Well, I'm going to... Probably because I'm walking that direction anyway, walk over to the half-elven individual.
Okay. It's at this point as well that, Revenant, you make your way up through the door. Silently, as before.
I think Revenant will just lurk in the shadow of the door for a while.
Okay. It is getting darker, but it is, it's still kind of early evening. So while the sun rays are not as strong anymore, it is still light out.
As I'll be looking out over the water.
There. See anything nice?
Well, there's certainly a lot of land to see out here. It's quite different the other time I journeyed here.
You've gone to the Avasha Isles before?
No, across this land, it was by land and not in the air.
Are you a well-traveled individual? By the way, my name is Alnilam. Al, you may call me.
Very well. Alnilam. My name is Fenris.
Nice to meet you. So, you're a well-traveled individual, Fenris?
No, I've only made these trips once each. It's about as far as I've gotten. Decided to give it a try for a change, instead of staying in Austro-Acadia for the rest of my life.
And are you looking for adventure? You seem well able for it anyway.
Oh, how do you mean?
Well, quite well armored.
I suppose yourself, standing there in a bright red jacket. Quite fetching to the eye.
That's the objective.
And are you here adventuring?
I suppose I am on a bit of an adventure, yes. Traveling. Looking to maybe set up new routes.
I see. Well, as you can tell, I'm not really accustomed to that much conversation.
That's
Do you
okay.
inquire where you're from? I can't quite place you.
Oh. I've been to quite a few places. Through quite a few places, I suppose would be more accurate. But for the most part, recently, I'm from a little town just southwest of Austral-Arcadia.
You said through places. Have you been swallowed by predators and found your way out?
No. I suppose I've seen quite a lot that I haven't had a chance to explore.
If you give me saying, you definitely do not seem like you're from around here.
Well, I'm not from. It's a long story. I'm sure after a few drinks I'd be more than happy to share.
Of course, well, there is a party later, and I'm sure someone will So interested in your past?
There is a party. Great, I heard some whisperings about it. I was excited. Excited to see everyone, to meet everyone. I do love seeing people, meeting people.
I'm afraid I can't say the same. That's why
I-
I'm out here, out enjoying the scenery.
Oh, I hope I wasn't disturbing you.
Of course not.
Very good of you. It is quite a beautiful scenery, all right.
Tell me what you do for a living.
I build things. I build little... Oh, he's probably still stuck on the stairs.
Comes up to the last step.
Yes. Well, oh, you can see it maybe over there. Just a little robot just whirring around there. Just little Humphrey, a little contraption of mine.
And you're just leaving him to his own devices.
Well,
Let
he's
him
very
struggle
slow
with
with
stairs.
stairs. I've yet to fix that. I should have thought of it really, but
And you're not assisting your own creation.
it's very embarrassing. But I'm too weak to lift him up the stairs.
I see.
Humphrey actually starts to make his way over towards you, and then looks up the other larger flight of stairs, and you just get a feeling.
I'll fix you soon, Humphrey. Don't worry. You'll be able to run upstairs like it's nobody's business.
Revenant, this contraption seems to come like straight up to you, but not really paying much attention to you. Keeps looking up at Al at the top of the stairs. I don't have a token for him, so he's here now.
will crouch and be looking at the contraption, and I'll just kind of like poke him once or
Kind of
twice.
stops, looks at you, kind of pokes. Al, you get a sense of, hey, stop.
Making friends down there.
When I hear that voice, I look up, I see him, and I kind of just like step back into the shadow of the staircase a bit.
Okay,
Did I
so
see him at all?
I'd say, well, it depends on if you're trying to be sneaky or if you were kind of allowed yourself to be seen.
I wasn't overly being sneaky, but just doing his usual gulking in corners.
I'd say, Al, what you saw is you kind of saw more of the silver mask out of anything. Seems to be very avian-like, bird-like. Kind of look up towards you with a hood and a robes covering the rest of their body, and then they kind of just disappear into the shadows.
Friend of yours?
No. Friend of Humphrey's, maybe. He's always wandering around. Very sociable creature, just like me.
Really? That's quite wonderful.
Well, I suppose I'll see you at this party then.
I suppose so. There's only so many times I can walk around the ship and not get bored.
I mean, there's much to see. Have you seen this large crystal?
Yes, I've not really sure I've seen it. I've spent my last hour walking around this deck and just somehow completely missed it.
Ah, very clever. But have you seen it? It's really interesting. I have a book if you'd like to read about it.
Do I know much about this crystal?
Ooh, go ahead and make a... I wish there was like a technology check, but there's not, so history check.
History or Arcana, maybe? Or
Yeah, either, I'd say. However you want to study this thing that you've been walking around for the last few hours.
might do Arcana. First of the night, natural 20.
Oh!
Nice.
Total of 25.
Woo. Okay, so
Lower the hand comes up.
something interesting happens in this moment, Fenris. While you try to kind of think back to, have you had a lot of experience with this kind of technology, that familiar voice comes back. It's not so much new tech, but made from old. Very old. Look a bit closer, and you'll see the glyphs. The voice vanishes again.
I will use detect magic and have a closer look.
Okay. As you cast detect magic, Al, you notice something interesting in Fenris's features, where these different colored eyes she possesses, a odd slit appears. Not so dissimilar to an individual ambassador you were speaking to recently, as Fenris looks over at this crystal.
What do I get from the look?
So it is a plethora of arcane energy that you see. You see evocation magic. What is it? My brain just shut down.
Out of the runic magic.
Evocation. Abjuration. Jesus. Yeah, evocation, abjuration, and these you do see a little bit of transmutation, but not as much as the evocation. But what you do notice, interestingly enough, is you do see kind of like very odd looking glyphs that seem to be attached inside. These glyphs kind of go amongst each other, and they're all over the crystal, they're all over the technology. They're like runes inscribed, but to the naked eye, you can't see them.
Okay, and look over the book, the crystal and say, I'm sure your book is referring to the runic glyphs inside, causing a continuous flow of arcane magic, transmuting from one to another into continuous environment to power the ship.
Well, that's precisely what I was talking about. Wow, you do pay attention. You're very clever. I like you.
Oh, well, thank you. Has your robot friend made his ascent?
Where's Humphrey?
Humphrey is currently engrossed with Revenant.
Revenant's actually trying to feed him some bread.
It's like not going in, and he kind of just takes the bread and holds it in his hand instead.
Not
I'd
sure
say-
what he's doing.
I'd say would Fran come out as well, or
Yeah, 100% Fran's there as well, eating bread
Fran-
beside him.
I feel
Showing
like
him
Fran,
how to eat the bread.
Yeah, she'd go onto like his shoulder and like sit there and kind of try to. Humphrey kind of look. You again, what you're getting, Al, a lot of just emotion feeling from Humphrey is, why are they trying to feed me? Do they not understand that I don't eat?
Well, we've come across some very friendly individuals who I don't think understand the nature of constructs.
Yeah, not.
He
I
opens
suppose I
up
should-
like a compartment on his chest and just puts it inside and closes it. Revenant.
They hand them some more.
Al, you get a sense of, god damn it.
I'll do be polite.
Hmm?
Do be polite, Humphrey.
Is Humphrey okay with taking bread from strangers?
Ah. I mean, it's a gift. You can't refuse a gift. Although,
Just shove
I-
more bread inside.
I might go down and just, explain to him that it's not going to be eaten or anything. Just, this poor stranger is going to lose all of their bread.
Oh well. I suppose when you have someone to care for, you must definitely care for them.
Hello? Hello? He can't eat.
You just like look up at you a little bit, look down at the bread, and then like put some in my mouth and then hold the bread up.
To me?
Yeah.
For me? Oh. I'll lean over and grab a bit of bread.
It's incredibly stale.
Oh. It's very nice of you. I'll save it
Well,
for later.
Well, you can't
Wrap
refuse
it.
the gift now, can you?
No. Wrap it in a handkerchief and put it in a pocket. Thank you very much.
At this stage, I think Revenant will actually step out of the shadows a bit
Okay.
and just kind of stand observing the two of them.
So you do, both of you see this individual, as described before, robed, cloaked, with a silver bird mask. And Revenant, you see the half-elven woman and a elf individual wearing a very striking red coat.
And what's your name?
Revenant will walk upstairs and he'll stand beside Al and kind of like look him up and down for a second, and then like go from his like little slouched posture like to straighten up and match Al's posture. And kind of look up and go, "Oh, well, hello. My name is Revenant."
Well, what a strikingly similar speech pattern you have.
Yes. I look over at I've forgotten your name, Fenris.
Fenris.
Yeah. Look, observe Fenris for a minute and kind of change posture again, and then look at you and go, "And what's your name?"
My name is Fenris, and this here is the decoy, Alnilam.
Alnilam or Al? Decoy.
All of you together hear of the first step from Humphrey.
Oh. I
What
must
do it up for?
get him a little grappling hook or something.
Perhaps a ladder?
Well, ladder would be good. Although his arms aren't very strong either. He's much like myself. Not very physically capable.
No, and a ramp.
A ramp.
Yes.
Many options. I just didn't consider any of them first.
Yes. My apologies, Revenant. This must seem very strange to you.
Yes, it is. I've never been on an airship before. And that strange little man down there, he put the bread in his chest.
Yes, it's how they consume things.
Oh,
That's Humphrey.
okay.
He doesn't eat. He's being very polite. He can't eat. He's a
So
robot.
sure.
Clock forged.
Well, you know, if you keep giving me bread, he'll grow as big as that clock forge over there.
I wish it were that easy. It really quite a bit of work goes into making them larger. Quite a bit of work.
Well, if you say so.
It's at this point, Gizmo, were you moving up to the top of the deck?
Yeah, no, I was making my way there.
Yeah.
I think I would have idled for a bit, just like gazing up at the Ethereum core, but I would have made my way up.
Perfect. So all of you, as this conversation is going on and Humphrey is continuing to move his tiny little butt up the stairs, Gizmo, you also make your way up to the top deck and kind of see a collection of individuals now speaking to each other. And I don't know if you can go up. Should I move you up? Yeah, I'll just move you up.
Where am I? I'm here.
You're here.
But I just like the picture, like, Fran is on the stairs trying to show Humphrey how to climb the stairs.
There we go.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
There you go.
Humphrey,
Yeah, they're
can't you
coming-
see that little mouse is even smaller than you are, and it makes its way up with no problem.
Oh, they seem to be coming out of the woodwork. There's another one.
Ah, it looks like there's a party going over there. I'm gonna start making my way over towards the larger group of people.
Okay, make your way over there. As you do, the other individual Clockforge, the three of you see. I'd say Gizmo, you don't see him quite yet, because he's up on the top. He does begin to make his way, seeming that there's a lot more people around. Seems to kind of start to make his way down the steps. Clocks you a bit, Gizmo. Kind of looks you up and down, gives you a bit of a nod, and then makes his way inside.
Nod back briefly. Well, hello, everybody.
Look at you.
What? Have I got something on my face?
No, you're just very impressive.
They told you they could grow bigger.
If I keep giving the little one bread, will he grow that big?
I'm not
Do
sure.
you like bread?
Why don't you try?
Strange question, I know, we've just met you, but...
I'm actually quite fond of bread, yes. I mean, you know,
Well.
as a thing.
Reverend's not going to offer bread. Reverend's shying away from this giant machine that's just walked out.
Yeah, how... Actually, tell me, Gizmo, how tall are you? Just out of curiosity.
I'm about just over 6.5 foot.
Okay, so yeah, a pretty intimidating individual that just sauntered on up to you guys. Humphrey is about halfway up
Broad
the stairs,
shoulders.
blocking your path at the moment. Gizmo, this teeny tiny little clockforge, about 9 inches tall or so, who seems to be just hoofing his way up the stairs.
I'm sorry about him.
No, this is an incredible piece of work. But who built this?
Hello, it's me.
Remarkable. I see how you were different here, but you didn't make it something to go up the stairs.
No, I made it in... Well, I finished him in a bit of a hurry before I left, and, yes, no, I guess I didn't quite think of that.
I have ideas, if you'd like to hear some of them.
I'm sure I would. Are you a creator yourself?
Yes, I dabble. I've made a few things. Like, look around, and I'm gonna turn around, and like reach towards my stomach, and then from my stomach, you just see me pull out and kind of put off to the side what looks like a little lantern, what looks like kind of an empty ceramic jug. That's what I have. Let me see here.
Empty the bag of holding.
Yeah. Just to show off a few things. Yeah, I'll pull out those two things first.
Okay. And you see these interesting contraptions being laid out before you.
And I'll pull up the ceramic bowl. Does anybody fancy a drink or need anything?
A drink would be lovely.
Beer.
What do you have?
Is this the jug?
I have an alchemy jug. So
Awesome.
as I say
Okay.
the word beer, you watch as this
Yes.
jug begins to fill up with ale.
Just out of the ether, just fills up. Very nice smelling, kind of a dry beer.
And I kind of hold it out. I'm told it's quite refreshing.
Fascinating. It's without a doubt the strangest thing I've seen today.
Well, thank you.
I'll, just out of my hand, you see like this small fold appear. I reach in and pull out a drinking horn and just scoop up some beer. Well, I did mention that I was looking for a drink earlier. Well, suggest. I'll take an old drink.
Please tell me what you think.
Yes. Do try it out. I've heard that ale does improve your personality.
How is it?
You know, it's actually not bad for something that came out of nothing. It's actually quite nice.
Yeah, 4
Leaves a little
gallons
bit
of
of
the
a-
stuff right now.
Yeah, it leaves a bit of a woody aftertaste.
Well, that's actually quite good.
I
And
can produce all sorts of things with this. Acid, poison, oil, water, salt water.
well, I'm glad that I just took a hornful of beer and not some of those other things. I mean, water's fine once it doesn't have salt in it, as you
That was
said.
definitely... Yeah, it was definitely beer.
I'll take another one.
This thing.
No one else? Fenris?
Quite nice.
Revenant?
Yes, thank you.
I'll pass.
It's a bit early for me.
As the sun goes down.
There are still people about.
Well,
You only drink alone.
I tend not to drink at all.
Oh, that's fine. It's no problem.
So, I rolled something to see
Oh.
how well Humphrey's doing.
Oh no.
And unfortunately, as he moves his way successfully up to the last step, you then all see a bit of a shift in his stance. And Al, all you get is a sense of, oh shit, as he misguides the last step and begins to fall backwards straight towards Gizmo.
Can I...
can I try and catch it?
You can go ahead and try to catch him, yes. Go ahead and make a dexterity save, I think.
I don't. Is there something you can do to help as well, Al?
I am going to... I'll be perfectly honest, I'm not much. He falls over a lot and I tend to just watch him and laugh.
So that would be a big fat no. Gizmo, you are on your own.
He watches with entertainment. The dexterity check. Is it?
There he goes.
I say dexterity save, yeah.
Oh,
See how
dexterity
well
save.
you...
It's not better. 8.
Okay. So this little contraption is not very large, but he is, a good few inches ahead of you, so or probably a good few feet ahead of you actually. So begins to fall backwards, and you reach out your mechanical, like kind of clockforged arms and go to grab him, and he's actually heavier than you expect, and slams into the front of you with your arms, and you begin to feel yourself falling backwards, and all of you just hear this whoop as both of them land into the deck of the ship. And Gizmo, you begin to hear a whoop, whoop, whoop,
Oh, not again.
as just like some kind of tubing of some sort in your the core part of your chassis comes loose, and all of you watch as a bunch of steam kind of comes out of Gizmo at the moment, with Humphrey like a turtle on the back of his ship, waving his arms and legs on the front of Gizmo.
I'm gonna frantically look around, and I'm assuming that this is not an internal job.
As you are trying to gauge, go ahead and roll an intelligence check for me.
Do I hear any of this
I was gonna
commotion?
say you're probably coming up with the kids, so yeah, I'd say you're up on the deck of the ship just as they fall
17.
and hit. 17. Pretty clear it is not an internal. This looks like an external job.
Well, I can't let my baby be hurt, so I will press on the release.
Okay, you do so.
As he hits the ground, both of them hit down. Can I just cast Prestidigitation to a faint musical note of wah wah?
You can indeed. Revenant, Al, and Fenris, all of you are watching as Gizmo and Humphrey are just down on the ground. But yes, you do, Gizmo, press the release.
Okay, and then at that point, you see at the center of kind of where the stomach goes of my body, there's these kind of interlapping pieces of copper that just kind of slide apart, and from this central hole that's been left behind, a chassis comes forward, and you see in that chassis, wearing a tight leather jumpsuit, a 3-inch tall fairy with a shock of green hair You can see as he kind of like starts to release himself out of the straps that he's in there. A set of dragonfly wings on the left, and on the right, what looks like a cobbled together canvas and clockwork piece set of wings. Pair of goggles up on top of a shock of emerald forest green hair. Well, that did not go well.
I will show quick. This is who you see. Stepping out of Gizmo's, the front part of the machine.
Okay, and I'm gonna fly up and straight away start going to whatever is causing the issue and start getting to repairing.
That is no problem. Go ahead and make a, what kind of, you have an all-purpose tool, correct?
I do.
So go ahead and just roll me a straight d20. Add your dex modifier and your intelligence.
Does this count as a tool check?
Probably, depending on what kind of tool.
Because I get to double my proficiency points if I'm using a tool.
You know what? Do that.
Awesome. I will do that. That would be then a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. All right. Easily done. Doesn't take you very long. You know this machine. You built it. So you are able to wiggle your way into all of the nooks and crannies, reattach the piece that had gotten loose, readjust some of the gears and mechanisms, and slip back out. And you all watch as almost like a streak of color follows as he flies back into the front. Those copper doors. Humphrey is still just like turtling it.
I'll just lean over and just like kind of, without like not, I'm still staring at Gizmo and this elf or this fairy that seemingly just burst from Gizmo's chest and started working on this contraption. And just kind of like hold my hand out to let Humphrey pull himself up.
Okay, you do so. Humphrey kind of slides back in. Cashé, I'd say as all of that was happening to you, you and the children have come up just as the clockwork fell onto the deck. And then
Mr.
you just
Gizmo?
watched this. Yeah, you just watched all that. All of you just watched that
It's
happen.
okay, I got it.
Let's get
It's
you.
very strange.
Stay back, kids. Apparently,
Actually,
there's
Ronnie,
now a fairy.
Ronnie probably wouldn't have come with you.
Yeah,
Where are you?
that's fair. I went down the wrong stairs, and now, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't get out.
No, I'm
We're gonna
not.
move you.
Somewhere. Just wandering
I
around.
went down the wrong
don't
stairs.
remember how these things are laid out.
Dream, okay.
Yeah.
All of you are
The
back now.
all-purpose tool as well too that I worked on is basically just Doctor Who's sonic screwdriver.
Awesome.
Yes. Sky Marshal's finest. That is very strange.
I'm strapped back in again now, back inside.
if you want to be, or unless you're
Oh
staying
yeah,
out.
once I finish my repairs, I'm getting back in there.
Yeah. So all of you watch it. The doors close again.
Question, Amber.
Yes.
How would I have seen, let's say, this technology where you'd have people in clockwork mechanism suits before, or anything like that, in the military?
Go ahead and roll me a history check.
Ooh, 20!
Oh, another one.
22.
Number 2.
Absolutely not.
Oh.
It don't matter.
Natural 20, you know nothing. But you
You-
know nothing.
You have never seen anything quite like that before. You have worked with clock forges. You had clock forges serve with you in the military on your fleet, but you have never ever seen an individual piloting a clock forge.
Oh, interesting. Had 200 of those, things might have gone different.
As I'm kind of like standing my way up as well, I kind of like look around. You know, I'd really appreciate it if maybe we could keep the whole fairy and the clock forge thing. Keep that quiet.
Of course, and I'm not going to shout at the banner of the toaster all over the rooftops.
I appreciate that. As a favor, I could fix any that you have broken. Quite handy.
No, I mean, I feel it's entirely my fault, or Humphrey's fault, really, that you fell in the first place. So really, I don't think you owe me a thing.
That's quite alright. It's my own fault for getting too close.
I would be
curious.
fascinated to talk handiwork with you at some point, though.
Of course. I'd be so excited. Wonderful.
Humphrey
Well-
begins to start trying to go up the stairs again.
No, Humphrey, we're downstairs now. It's fine. We can stay here. Don't worry.
Sigh of relief. You get. Begins to march his way back towards the stairs, while the other going down.
No. You stay here. You stay with me. It's fine. Don't.
You just watch him like just sit.
That's fine too.
I'm going to come down the stairs and give Gizmo a real eyeful just to see how exactly everything is pieced together.
I will do the same.
Oh, okay. Investigation checks, both of you then.
Can while they're doing that, can I vibe check everyone?
You want to vibe check?
On a danger check. I said danger check.
Oh, okay. All right, danger check. All right, go ahead and roll insight. General insight. Revenant, what are you doing?
20. Sorry.
I am looking at Cashé, at his big shiny sun medallion.
It's all good. Cash.
Yeah, so 15 plus 7.
15 plus 7, okay. So you're looking at the shiny medallion.
22.
22. And you got a 17, Al? No?
A dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay, so Gizmo.
As they're like looking
What?
me over as well too. I'm actually on the inside doing like internal checks, so I'm not even paying attention. Checking pressure, checking like gear ratios.
You've seen all the valves kind of go back up to where they should be instead of all over the place, and that little like wah, wah sound isn't there anymore. Yeah.
So investigation for me.
Investigation for you, yeah.
Yeah, it's an 18.
Okay, 18. So Gizmo, what do they see in terms of how your armor works?
I would say that like there's a good large part of it that like is familiar if you know anything about Clockforge, like in terms of how joints are connected together, sort of where pneumatic drives would be. It seems like that's where whatever energy sources is probably coming from the gemstones that are there. There does seem to be maybe a level of like more nature-based magic that's been embedded that I'm not sure if you know the ins and outs of that. Maybe that'd be kind of up to you, Amber.
I'd say what they notice is more the wood use. Because I believe you said that you had that the armor has like hardened wood in some of the areas, and I'd say that's probably odd for those of you who, especially you, Al, who know you've built your own little clock forge. That's a bit odd. Usually you wouldn't use wood; you'd use certain types of metals to be able to contain that kind of arcane power. Wood would sometimes burst into flames due to the glyphs that were used. So usually it's metal. So it's kind of interesting to see that woodworking in it.
I have to say, this is very, very unusual construction. It's so many natural elements. I don't think I've ever seen an automaton with so much stone and wood.
Well,
Vines? Are these vines?
Kind of vines. They're somewhat cultivated from where I'm from. I have a fairy. Feywild.
Yes, that makes sense. It follows. How did you yeah, I mean, how do you maintain it here? How do you acquire materials?
Well, most of the materials, there's stuff that can be coaxed, if you know the right way to do it. Most of the metallic materials, that I had to source here.
Have you much space inside there?
Enough room to swing around a thimble.
I like that.
See.
It's comfortable for me. As you can see, or as you all saw, I'm very small, and it's a large world out there, so I needed some way of defending myself, so I built this. I like building things, it's what I'm good at.
Well, this truly is fascinating.
That sounded like sarcasm. I've heard that before.
Oh, I do apologize that it wasn't actually meant to be sarcasm. I think I've just been immersed in it for too long.
See? Got away from that though, luckily.
Cashé.
It often happens when you're surrounded by smart addicts in the guild.
You're from a guild.
Yes. Well, back in Australia, not here.
What's it called? What did they do?
Sunfall Guild. They're a mix of adventurers and, well, those who like to leave the whatever place they visit a little better than where they was before.
Sounds like a noble cause. You have to do more of that.
Never noble. Yes, as a matter of fact, some adventuring and see what's out there.
I wish you the best of luck with that.
Oh, you seem to have a new admirer.
Oh, Miss Cashé.
In saying
Mr.
that,
Gizmo?
Cashé, you were asking
Yes.
for a vibe check.
Yeah.
Your vibe check comes back. 1, 2, 3. 3 individuals are currently very engrossed in conversation, looking over Gizmo and just chatting away with him. Not really. They've noticed you, but they've noticed you once you've been kind of pointed out. However, you do notice a odd-looking individual staring at you quite intently, not really keeping their eyes off you, and that is Revenant.
Interesting. And am I getting kind of, I'm scoping you out for evil intent, or what kind of intent do I get from that scope?
That individual is wearing a mask. You have no idea.
Yeah. Okay.
You actually don't, it looks like he's looking at you, but it's even hard to tell then. They're looking in your general direction, but they also are still wearing a mask. And I would say with your passive perception... Actually, no, never mind.
Fair enough. I'm just going to pull Bazal closer to me. Just like, stay close to me.
Bazal is no longer next to you.
Oh no! I'm doing a terrible job.
Oh fuck, my charge!
Little Lord! Little Lord!
Mark, what did you just say?
Oh fuck, my charge!
That seems familiar. Yes, you don't even need a perception check. He's not stealthy at all. He just, while all of that was happening, ran up the stairs next to you and is currently looking up at. He's up here.
Okay, as long as I can see him, that's why.
You can see him. Yeah. He's just not right next to you, but you can see him. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose once then I'll kind of concentrate on Revenant there and just be like, hi, my name is Cashé San Passage. Air Marshal, or a corporal even.
We're just changing.
Yeah, never mind. I go.
We need-
Colonel.
Lieutenant.
I don't know.
He's been through them all.
I am air rank.
I'm in the military.
Yeah. Air Colonel.
You're air colonel. You're air colonel.
Colonel. I'll remember my rank one of these days.
Maybe we should
Eric.
write it down like.
Put it up on the screen.
I have it in front of me and I still do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
Would
sorry.
I
Yeah.
recognize the uniform?
Oh, go ahead and make a history check at advantage.
Where's my thing on? Hold on.
ooh, nice.
Wow.
20.
20. You do indeed recognize that uniform. However, it's odd. It's not a forward-facing memory, if that makes sense. As you stare more intently towards Cashé, it's almost like you see a second visage next to them, someone that you've seen before. Maybe not Cashé in particular, but you have definitely come across this uniform before. Usually covered in blood.
Yeah. Yeah, so just like kind of like examine the uniform for a bit and just be like, you're in the Ustra Arcadia military?
Minerva. At the Avasha Isles.
They're from the Avasha Isles.
Yes. That makes more sense. My
Have
name
you-
is Revenant.
Nice to meet you. Have you been to the Avasha Isles before? You seem to maybe recognize the uniform.
I have a vague memory of the uniform.
What? I hope it was after the war that you have a memory of it.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Have you lost your sense of time?
I suppose you could say that, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, me too. Things can blur together. And now that I'm
It's
closer, am I getting any? Can I see like his eyes through the mask, or is it just dark?
It is just dark. It is also getting quite dark. But for three of you, you can see just fine.
What?
I didn't even notice it was getting dark.
God damn it. Yes, so while it is getting dark and night is quickly approaching, you do begin to hear, all of you also begin to kind of hear the soft sounds of music being played, laughter coming from lower down in the ship. But yeah, Cashé, as you're staring at Revenant, you know, do you still have your mask with you?
Yes, I'd have my helmet with me at all times. I'm just kind of holding it at my waist, I suppose.
Perfect. So, you know, there's a familiarity in that sense, in the fact that both of you seem to be having ways to hide your face. But nothing else seems out of the ordinary. It is odd that he can immediately sound like you, which registers as a Kenku,
Hmm. Interesting.
because you've met Kenku before, so.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose then I'm going to put out my hand for a shake. It's a pleasure to meet you, Revenant.
Yeah, Revenant will match the posture exactly and put his gloved hand out. grasp your hand firmly and shake it.
And I must meet your friends as well.
Oh,
And I
my
turn to the other three.
friends. Yes, I immediately turn around and go, Fran. Yeah,
You
it's that
just
rat
see
scurries
this
up.
little rat scurrying out of the darkness and kind of winds their way up Revenant's body, disappears into the robes, and then pops out on his shoulder.
This
Oh.
is Fran.
Oh. Hello, Fran. It's nice to meet you too.
Fran puts his paw out for a handshake.
Oh,
I
does she?
put one
Okay.
finger out.
I was gonna hiss at him, but yeah.
Check my finger.
There's a little bit of a nibble as well. He tastes nice. What you hear,
Fran.
Revenant?
And then I'll just turn and look at the rest of them and be like, I wasn't really paying attention to them earlier.
Revenant. But yes, Cashé, you see the rest. You've already met Gizmo, but you do see a half-elven woman and a elvish individual that I don't believe you guys have met each other yet. So.
I got hello. It's been a while since I've seen another drow.
Not quite.
Interesting. Well, at least another purple being then.
Yes. It's a nice color. Suits you well.
And you, your name is?
I am Alnilam Enethær. Ow, for short.
I in the military, when I couldn't pronounce a name, I gave them a nickname, so I'm going to call you Ali.
Ali? Ow. I mean, Ali has more syllables, but if you care to waste your time on it, you can go right ahead.
And nice to meet you, Ali.
Cashé. I think I heard Gizmo call you earlier.
Yes, Air Colonel Cashé.
Air Colonel Cashé. Ah, yes, military, of course.
Air
Well-
Colonel, Captain. We don't know yet.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Are you
General.
working on the ship? Are you part of the crew?
Not part of the crew. I am on a mission, however. And I point over at the little orc boy who is staring out over the railing.
He pulls something off the ship. Looks like a big gear. Cashé, look!
Don't break the ship. Come over here and meet new friends.
You all watch as a very small little half-orc boy, maybe no more than about 7 or so, come toddling down these stairs and comes up to you all and grabs Caché's hand and looks up and... Hi, I'm Lord Belzal.
I'm gonna look up from Gizmo and actually look over to them.
Okay, so you're... I would say at this point, too, an individual from down below, one of the crew, have come up with a tray of drinks. You can see there's quite a lot of, like, kind of fresh fruit and very...
I still have 2
very,
gallons of ale here.
There's lots of ale as well. So drinks, cocktails, small little refreshments are provided by the crew. You do hear bits of music. Actually, I'd even say some of you would see that 2 kind of baubles come floating out onto the top of the ship. They don't really glow or anything, but they just kind of hover, and you can hear soft music being played through them. You can see people are starting to kind of go around the ship and talk amongst each other, and does seem to be a little bit of a celebration while you guys are talking.
Can I
Turn up and notice. Oh, sorry, Red.
I was just can I crouch down to the little boy and ask him, what have you got there?
Oh, I don't know. I took it off the ship. It didn't look like it belonged there.
May I see it?
Yeah. He gives it to you.
I'll take it.
for the size and stature of this boy, he's really strong because he just ripped a very important lever, it appears. You don't know what, but
Yeah.
there are wires and all of manner of things that probably shouldn't have been ripped out.
Yeah, like I'm looking at this and I'm like, this seems important. And I turn back to him, I'm sure it's fine, but it might be best that we put things back in the
Do I recognize it?
Okay, why not? You've been on airships before. It does look like it has something to do with the mast. Whether a way of kind of adjusting the mast, and all of you would also notice too that there are two very large kind of wooden masts, like a regular sailing ship, but they cut off halfway up, and then it's just connected with like light chains and bits of really fine cabling to give the balloon movement to go with the swaying of the air currents. But it does look like this lever, Cashé, you recognize as something that would be used to maybe adjust the balloon if the winds get too strong. For at least the front part of the mast. Back part still looks fine.
Oh.
It's all right.
Perhaps I should go tell the captain?
Oh, we could try and reattach it.
I'm quite good at repair works, but we'll tell the captain if there's anything to warn him about. And I'm gonna make my way over to where the kid ripped it out from and see if I can like find where it was pulled out from.
Oh, he immediately reaches out to take your hand to take you there.
I will let him lead along. It's okay.
He leads
it's
you
okay.
along.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
He's so trusting. Oh gosh.
Marches his way, and as you do walk with him, you do notice that he's actually got little tusks just starting to protrude up his lip, and he's kind of walking. He brings you over, and he brings you over to that kind of panel section. You have to bend down to get to it, and you could hear the as the sparks sticking out, and he just kind of watches you.
It can be fun.
Not too close.
It can be fun to dismantle,
She
but
worries a lot.
let me show you what it needs to prepare. I'm gonna hold it out. I'm gonna like wave my hand over it, and I'm gonna cast mending and try and fix it back into place.
Brilliant. You do so, and the magic flows through you, but into your armored hand and out, and as like a conduit almost. And you successfully mend the broken bits. It takes maybe a few times using mending just to really get all of the contraptions back to where they are. But Belzal is just enthralled and loving every moment of what you're doing. And he's like, and what's that? And what's that? And he just starts asking about everything.
I'll give like as much of a detailed explanation as I can, not talking to a child at all. Like just like,
Yeah.
And so this is the quantum flux method.
And he's just like, I don't know what that is. He's enjoying it still. But yeah, you two are working on that. That'll take you a little bit of time to repair that panel. The rest of you, with your cocktails in hand, bits of light food being offered. What would you guys like to do? You do also. There is a captain currently at the helm of the ship, speaking to Dover and a few of the other crewmates, but he is just focused on keeping the ship going the way it should.
Turn to Cashé. Well, hello. We haven't been
Hello.
introduced.
No. Air Colonel Cashé. And yourself.
My name is Fenris.
Nice to meet you, Fenris. And I can see by your bearing as well that you're fit for a fight.
Yes, I have had some training in that regard. Part of a adventuring / mercenary guild.
Maybe I've heard of it.
Sunfall.
Do I recognize Sunfall?
Ooh, go ahead and roll me a history check. Just moving a few pieces.
Oh, it's pretty good. That's 18.
Okay. Well, you have heard brief whispers of a guild called Sunfall. You actually have a lot more knowledge of a guild called Starforge, who partner up with other guilds. They are guilds set in Manera for quite a long time, actually, even throughout the war. And now, following the war being over, they seem to have reached out to both the Empire and the Dynasty, creating... what's the best word? Alliances where they need.
He allied with Stormforge? Starforge, sorry?
Starforge, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm meeting them in Manera.
Ah, I see. And have you ever been there before?
No, it's be my first time.
Well, I envy you in that. It's a beautiful city. If only I could see it with my eyes for the first time again.
Well, if I wish I could say the same about Arcadia, but unfortunately it's mostly a shithole.
Revenant's just standing in the background nodding when he says that.
Just agreeing. I like it.
Well, places have a way of tending to change. I know some beautiful spots in the Avasha Isles that are no longer such. But I can also go the other way, and places can become beautiful.
That is very unfortunate. Perhaps you can tell me more about Manera.
What would you like to know?
More about the city.
Well, it's much like any city. Lots of people. Well, I say much like any city, but most cities don't have as many airships or, robots walking around. You'd have to be more specific. It's when you've lived in a place your entire life, it's very easy to miss the minutiae.
There's a lot of things you can take for granted.
Agreed.
No, tell me more about the outside of the city.
Beautiful. I'm still finding it hard to pin down your question.
I'm more
Are you
inquiring
looking for something?
Not in particular, I'm just would like to know where I'm going, since I've never been before.
Try being a bit more direct, Fenris. She doesn't seem to really understand.
Military and all that.
I'm interested in the outskirts of the city, to be a little landscape. But also, I just like to get to know the city, so I know what I'm getting into. You described it as quite beautiful, but not really a detail.
I don't think there's real many words to describe the city, but like any city, it has its dark points, it has its light points. Stay away from the dark and you will be okay.
Oh, the dark doesn't bother me.
For now.
Where's a good place for a party?
Oh, well that I can guarantee. What's the name of that in Amber?
The the Wayward Bliss.
The Wayward Bliss is a fantastic spot.
Also the Red Light District.
I'll
For
begrudgingly
certain fun.
mention the Red Light District as well. If you're looking for that kind of thing.
Well, my lady, then you did have curiosity, but now you have my interest.
And perhaps I should keep it by saying no more.
I adore mysteries.
And I find them out.
Wow.
I'll grab one of the cocktails as it's going past and just kind of swirl it.
Okay, you do. It's got, like I said, it's got like fresh strawberry slices and even like a orange on the side. It's really lovely. And I was gonna say, Al, this cocktail's really nice.
This is very good. Really very good. Also,
Yeah.
Revenant, are they flirting?
I think so.
Yeah.
If I knew what flirting was.
Oh. Well, form of courtship, I suppose. You know, jokingly talking at each other, keeping things nice and vague. It's just jovial.
Oh dear, seems this one hasn't had the talk yet.
The talk. What talk?
Oh,
You're
Oh.
doing a lot of talking,
break
but
the
you weren't
ice.
saying much. I'm sorry.
Yes, I just decided to do that just to, well, break the ice, as were.
We're in the air. There's no ice. Oh, I see.
There's plenty of ice. I'll hold up one of the cocktails with to see if it has ice in it.
This cocktail actually doesn't have ice in it.
Right.
Just
One
because.
cocktail.
I'll swirl it in front of him.
Ice is
and
not something we have in the video.
I know. I'm just gonna swirl it and then silently cast a silent image to make ice inside disappear.
Oh, okay, very good. Yep. And you see the illusion of ice in the glass.
Just need to know where to look.
Very clever.
Oh. Something kind of hits at the back of the neck during this conversation, and as it comes to the end and you're kind of keeping eye contact with Fenris, you can't help but a shiver. Drastic change in the temperature. And as you kind of look around, you can, because of your redonkulously high passive perception, you sense and see a bit of commotion going on over at the captain and the crew that are currently looking around. And you do see two individuals, a couple, it appears, human descent gentleman with kind of ashen hair that's pulled back into a ponytail. What's really striking, though, about him is that there seems to be a bit of a prosthetic on one half of his face. Quite mechanical, and you can actually see some of the gears turning in the parts of his jaw. His companion is an elvish woman, very, very short, cut hair, and they appear to be kind of looking out, and you watch as the woman points, and the human kind of holds on to her, and they both kind of step back away from the railing.
What's going on over there?
A music change. You have a look out into the darkness of the sky, and the sun is just left the kind of skyline, but it's still slightly bright. Like, you can still see out, and you just see massive torrent of clouds looming in the distance. And you watch as the captain kind of looks down and starts kind of changing some of the levers as if to switch something around in the ship. You watch as the other crewmate starts to run back and begins to pull some of the levers down and whirl some of the cogs, and you can feel the whole ship begin to kind of sway to the side, angling its way against whatever is coming.
Mr. Gizmo, have you fixed that mechanism yet?
Have I fixed it?
Just locks into place as all of you hear "Brace!" from the captain.
Oh
need-
shit!
All of you to make dexterity saving throws for me,
no.
please.
Hearing that though, can I
Mhm.
like, I don't know if it's disadvantage or just forego succeeding, can I just try and like shield around the child?
I will allow you to, yes, if you want to give him advantage
Yeah,
on his save, and you have disadvantage.
cool.
Okay. All right.
I got an 8.
Ooh, all right.
A deck save.
Yep.
Dex. Okay.
I should have saved that child.
I'm in your debt, though. I'm in your debt.
Okay. So.
First natural one, I believe.
Oh! All right.
We've had our 20s.
Now for the fun to begin.
Just before I make my one, because I actually kind of want to do something similar. Obviously, I want to keep Fran inside my robes, but I'm also going to drop down and grab Humphrey because he seems to have been forgotten about.
Okay.
He's around. He's hanging on.
He's around.
Okay, so have you stayed close to Humphrey in all of this?
I imagine I'm right.
Yeah. Like you said, he just sat down. So
He just sat down, kind of defeated. And
Yeah.
So he's sat down. So yes, Revenant. If you want to forego and give yourself disadvantage, you can give Humphrey advantage if you want.
Okay, I will give Humphrey advantage and take a disadvantage.
Wow, thank you guys for your advantage.
Will I roll for Humphrey?
No. Oh yeah, you can if you want. I just rolled for him,
Yeah.
but you can go ahead. Yeah.
I don't mind.
Roll with advantage.
Advantage. The exact same number. Yep, much better than me.
Okay, so one by one, I need your numbers, please.
8.
8,
18.
18.
9 for me and 16 for Humphrey.
Okay.
Humphrey.
Well done, Humphrey. Okay.
3.
10 for
3 and 10.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, well, Belzal rolled a natural 20.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So thank you, by the way. He rolled a natural 20. So what happens as all of you hear this call from the captain of Brace? A torrent of wind slams into the side of the airship. You all feel almost like the essence of your feet leaving the ground, and that kind of feeling inside your stomach as all of you are kind of shunted to the side. The air, the balloon itself also gets blown. Everything is just basically thrown into a disarray in the air. What happens to most of you, I would start with Fenris, because they rolled very high. I would almost say you find your footing immediately, you land, but you're very low to the ground. And
Splay my legs and have one hand out ready for the 3-point.
Superman, yeah, like a superhero pose kind of thing. And as you kind of land, Revenant slams into the back of you as you all kind of dip to the side and begin to slide down. Now, you, Fenris, were able to kind of keep your balance and stay upright. Revenant, you are currently knocked prone and sliding into Fenris, but you two are kind of on the side of the ethereal core, so you're able to kind of keep your balance a little bit, or keep your section there. Cashé, you go sliding all the way to the other side of the ship. Slam into the stairs, so you're not fully off the railings, but you do slam into the stairs, and you take 2 points of bludgeoning damage. Al, you as well go sliding into the other side of the stairs. You and Cashé basically go into the side here, and you take 4 points of bludgeoning damage as you slam into the side. Gizmo. Belzal feels this shift. You go to crowd over around him and kind of keep him safe. He just scrunches down and grabs onto the edge and just holds himself there. While you've gone over, you didn't realize how much the airship would turn to the side, and you have now gone completely over the front of yourself and are now hanging off the side, holding on. Upside down almost. Like it's not a fun experience. Currently, as the airship goes and tries to right itself, the captain, almost crying out as he's trying to get it back, and you all just feel this, the amount of current of wind that is hitting you. It is odd, and so as the clouds begin to gather around all of you, and the sky goes just a pitch black, I need perception checks from those of you. I'd say Fenris and Revenant, because the rest of you have slammed into things, and Gizmo's currently hanging off the side of the ship.
My calculations were slightly off.
Belzal's like, I'll help you, and he's like trying to pull you up. He's 6 years old, so he can't do anything. He's like holding on to you, and
Where was that strength when you pulled that lever? God damn it.
Okay.
Fenris, Revenant. What are your perception checks?
19.
19.
Like training
Yeah,
is
sorry.
kicking in.
Sorry, Ricky, what?
Yeah,
Oh no, take your time.
taking it now. No. 8.
8. You are currently bashed up against the back of Fenris, so you don't really notice this. You're kind of trying to right yourself as the whole airship is swaying, like almost like seesawing back and forth, trying to stay afloat from these winds. Fenris, you are the only one. As you look up into the sky, you see the beautiful sunset that was happening devoured by a storm. And in the rolling storm clouds and arcs of lightning that are all around you, you swear you see something. You strain your eyes to look closer, and it's almost as if a giant serpent is coiling in the sky, wrapping themselves around the world. Your attention is stolen, however, as portions of the sky around you begin to rip open, tears dividing straight in around you all, like claws tearing through flesh. And you can see as these gashes appear, it just outpours water, dark, sickly looking water from like the depths of the void. And interestingly enough, Gizmo, as you're hanging off the side and looking out, you also see these tears, as if a beast is clawing their way through another realm. And you recognize tears like that. You've stepped through them before. Yeah. And as this ocean water pours out like waterfalls in the sky, so do creatures, ethereal in form, ghostly. Large eels, serpent-like ocean creatures become flooding out all around the ship. And from them you also see glowing jellyfish coming all the way around you all. You can see sparks of lightning as this giant storm is tearing above you all. And that's where we'll end tonight.
Oh no.
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
oh, that was great.
So we will pick up with initiative and some fighting. Thank you so much for joining us, and until next time.